Gang. Let me take a sip of this Fiji water real quick, man. We almost at Sinful to Pete Day. Put some love in my body as freeze as it would say. All right. So I made a list of these things that you could do to get what you want, get more of what you want. Okay, and a lot of the little self-help gurus and all of that will explain to you a lot of these things to do the opposite. But on a practical level, this is what works for me. This is what has worked for me. And every time I come up on a goal, I definitely I use these things. All right. Now, the first thing that you have to do is you have to become a nerd. What do I mean by that? You have to understand why things work and how things work. And let me tell you why that's important. That's important because I can explain to you that you should or should not do something, right? Anything. But when I explain it to you, you might be somebody like me, just overly logical. You understand from one side of the brain why you should do that. But if it doesn't appeal to you emotionally and logically, it's not going to have the greatest effect. Just like Simple to P say, RIP, you have to have negativity and positivity to produce power in a battery. So that is the same way that the mind, body, and soul works. I'm not saying to you that if I say, hey, bro, here, smoke this weed, and you hit the weed is not going to make you higher if you understand, okay, well, THC affects these nerves, and that's not what I mean. I'm saying, if I'm like, hey, bro, if you want to get more, if you want to have more success with women, you should work out. And you're like, well, I do cardio, and I'm like, nah, not just that. You need to weight lift. If I say, look, women feel more comfortable with guys who have muscles because they could protect them, and it'll boost this hormone, which will make women more attracted to you, and this, and this, and this. And it'll make you better in bed. And you know what I'm saying? Just understanding, breaking it down and understanding the why and the how as much as possible. Number two, I would have to say, feel what you feel, bro. I I understand that people want to feel gratitude. Thank you, universe, for giving me this job, or saying, well, at least I have a job. At least I have a place to stay. I know every day I walk outside, there's dead bodies here, and there's people on crack asking me to do that. Bro, you could be grateful all you want, but if you truly are unhappy, use that as fuel. That was my issue when I first restarted my life the last time. Now everybody was at work, shucking and jiving and acting all happy. I'm like, bro, we're making 13.50 an hour. And the reason why I'm not socializing, the reason why I'm not trying to feel like I'm having a good time is because I don't want to be stuck here in this loop. If you feel like you're not doing what you need to do or being where you are in life, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You got to use that. You got to, sometimes it's okay to feel like a loser. And a lot of people might study stoicism. A lot of people might say that you need to have a gratitude journal and all of that and write down everything that you're grateful for, and that's going to help you. That doesn't always help everybody. Sometimes you have to wake up, not every day, not every day, but sometimes you got to wake up and be like, man, I am a loser. This is not what I pictured for myself. I know I can do better than this. You don't have to be happy and stacking those boxes with gratitude every day. Sometimes you have to be like, look, man, this little $15 or this little $16 is not cutting it. I'm glad, I'm grateful for having a job, but this can't be like this. This cannot be like this. You can't be if you are stuck in life. If you want something better, you can't always pretend and cover it up every day. That's the same thing to me. That's the same thing as putting negative substances in your body. I'm not saying that you can't go to work and stack the boxes and listen to Drake and call your girl on your break and feel happy about having that crappy job. But at the end of the day, sometimes you have to just be like, you know what? I don't want to feel good about this job, man. Sometimes take the music out. Sometimes stack those boxes and actually smell all that dust in the truck and look around the warehouse and look out all these people at McDonald's. Look to your left and look to your right. It's nothing but felons and teenagers that's only working this job to get through college. Sometimes you have to just let that feeling sink in. How much should you do it? Well, negativity weighs about twice as much as positivity. So every day that you try to hypnotize yourself with happiness or false pseudo happiness, definitely take out one of those days. If you work 5 days a week, I would definitely say take 2 of those days to feel negative about your job. And then on one of those weekends, one of those days on the weekends, feel gratitude. Okay, but just be realistic and don't try to hypnotize yourself with happiness just to escape the pain of not being where you want to be. So next, this this goes this is gonna work with the last tip I gave you, but building success loops. Okay, you were jobless, you were homeless, you were just in a financial deficit. You might still be right now, but at least you had the capability of succeeding. Now, even if you can't, what you should be able to mentally attach yourself and emotionally attach yourself to those times where you were winning or that you felt like you were losing, but then you end up winning. Do things in your day, in your daily life that could make you feel like you succeeded. And success is definitely subjective. Success is pretty much when you just accomplish a goal. Okay, when you accomplish a goal and you feel what you want to feel at some point. But if you smoke cigarettes, put off smoking that next cigarette for 30 minutes to an hour. That's something successful. If you don't do push ups, wake up and do 20 push ups in the morning. If you start to feel bad and you start to feel like you want more, just remember that you set that little goal this morning and you did it and how it made you feel. And create reasons for you to think about how successful you were today and yesterday and and reflect on the successes that you had. Now, of course, ideally it would have to be something that you did this year or within the last year. Something, it doesn't have to be super big. Just that's why you do a lot of little stuff because it builds that confidence and it builds that momentum. That's the importance, that momentum. So doing something small every day, changing habits and putting those small tweaks in your routine every day so you can have those emotional and mental references for you actually succeeding. Okay, because success comes from succeeding, obviously. Then we have you have to see yourself. You have to see yourself or feel yourself actually being successful. That's something that you could do. A lot of people aren't good with the meditation. A lot of people aren't good with visualization. That's something that you have to change. Visualization is something that you could definitely change. I don't want to say overnight, but less than a month. And if you don't want to use the word visualization, use the word imagination. The only difference between visualization and imagination is you involving all five senses and actually paying attention to small details. That's what visualization is. Paying attention to small details and involving all of your senses. So, for example, you wake up in the morning and you visualize the color of your sheets. You look next to you, it is a fine whatever next to you. And then you look at the clock, it's 6:04. That's all the little details. But as far as you imagining, you could be behind the Benz wheel and you see you're turning on Rodeo. That's very basic. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people don't get what they want because they don't see themselves or they don't feel like that they could be successful. And that's another good thing. Listen to your language. Like, do you feel that you actually do it? Do you actually see yourself actually doing it? That's what I told my therapist about one of the issues that I had. I said I can't actually see myself being in this position. And when I actually meditated on that, I was like, I should actually visualize myself because I'm listening to my own language. Now, another thing with that is, like I said, if you're not good with visualization, actually try to feel what that feels like, whatever level of success or whatever goal that you have. If you want that girl or you want that dude, just tap into the emotions that you would actually experience being there, and then try to invoke that every day. Invoke, meaning communicate with it, bringing it inside you, bringing it inside your mind, body, and soul, and attaching yourself, building a link, building that connection. That's why a lot of people make vision boards. I don't actually have one, but I do have pictures of things throughout my house that I am actively working towards. Okay, so that's very important. Making a vision board, putting all the energy, going to the library, printing it out for 10 cents a sheet, 50 cents a sheet if you want color, and meditating in front of it, saying affirmations, that's a lot, bro. That's a lot. But if you come in this bathroom, not in this bathroom, but if you go in your bathroom, I got a chair in here. I'm sitting on the chair. I used to sit on the toilet, but now I don't do that because that's nasty. But looking into your eye, looking into your left eye or your right eye or both eyes, and actually feeling those emotions every day will certainly help you get to that place. Not when you're at the job, because when you feel all those happy emotions at your job, that's going to attach you spiritually and emotionally to your job that you don't like. If you don't like the job, you don't have to turn it into something fun. That's something that I don't like when people do. That's the same thing people do in jail. When we're in jail, we might as well have fun. Yeah, excuse me. Yes and no. That's why a lot of people keep going back to jail, because they're used to it and they're good at being in jail. A lot of you guys are good at being in jobs you don't like, that have no positive end for you. You're gonna quit or you're gonna get fired. It's not a career. You're not gonna move up. You barely have, the insurance. You don't have a 401k. You don't have benefits. The only benefit is you're not homeless. That's not good enough. That's not big enough. All right. Next, you got to get more willpower and discipline. Some of you are very lazy, and I'm gonna give you another reason. Going back to number one, finding the purpose in what you're doing. Now, I was watching this one comedian named David Arnold, R.I.P. You guys might know about him, but he was telling a story in his routine where he said his granddad will always call him lazy, but when he actually found his purpose in life and what he found something that was going to motivate him to actually get up and walk miles, when he said he never thought that he would ever walk miles to do anything, you know what I mean, except for put substances in his body that didn't belong there, or for some cat, for some box, that changed his life. He said he never knew that he could not be lazy until he found that thing that made him motivated enough to build more so like pseudo discipline. Now, I don't advise anybody to sit around and wait until you find that one thing that makes you just act like a crackhead for it. But at the end of the day, you do need to have something that feeds your discipline, that feeds your motivation, baby. As Freezes It made a video on feeding your motivation on a daily basis, whether it's watching a YouTuber, whether it's writing it down, whether it's having a poster, whether it's putting off a alarm on your phone or a reminder to motivate yourself. That's something that you should already do. Now, discipline and motivation are very, they're different. They feel the same, but they're different. Discipline comes from a routine. Motivation is something that's more emotional, that puts that gas in your car pretty much. There's a big difference. I made a video about it years ago. Motivation versus discipline or something like that. I don't remember. But just not being lazy. Not being lazy is very, very, very important. You cannot have discipline with conditions. Okay, build that willpower. Something like I said, that number five and number three are going to tie in, because if you do anything to build your willpower or your discipline on a daily basis, that's going to help you with your success loops. Okay, me, I I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I take cold showers. And the days that I don't emotionally feel like taking cold showers, I beat my meat, but I don't get to the end. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep it clean for YouTube because that takes a lot of discipline for me to not spill my seed all over the place. So, me doing that, if I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to feel that cold sensation. It's a bad sensation. And yes, it wakes me up and yes, it motivates me, but I just don't want to do it. I just need a hot shower. Sometimes I don't even feel clean if I don't take a hot shower, which is mental because a cold shower will get you just as clean, but sometimes I just don't feel it. So I just play with myself. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. But that builds discipline though. So, and that's another thing, just to throw that in there. When you do a lot of things, you could build discipline out of that. Like I said, bad habit. I smoke cigarettes. So me putting out smoking cigarettes for 15 minutes, I am going to smoke it at some point. Just give it like 10, 15 minutes. Okay? I do eat unhealthy snacks sometimes. Well, let me just eat half and I'll come back later. Or whatever it is. Take any opportunity if you're struggling with discipline. Take any opportunity that you have to build more discipline or willpower, which those two things are not the same thing. Motivation, discipline, willpower, those that's like Satan, Lucifer, and the devil. Those are three different things. They could put you in the same place, but they're not. But you have to offset, like you have to have a superhuman amount of motivation if you don't have discipline and willpower. You need to have a superhuman level of willpower or discipline if you don't have any motivation. So just having that healthy balance of all three will get you where you need to be. And then lastly, I'm gonna give you a sixth one. I know I said five, but I'm gonna throw a sixth one in there. Something that I'm struggling with personally right now. Socializing. All right. I watched a guy named Dr. John Deloney, and he was talking to a guy who said he had no friends because his job was it was very isolated. He did lawn care. And the guy was saying pretty much he didn't have anything to offer. And the doctor was saying, when you socialize and when you make friends, you're gonna make more. He had his own business. He said you're gonna make more money. You're gonna get more clients when you have friends. Your health is gonna improve as long as you're not doing bad habits with these guys. You're gonna be mentally stronger. You're gonna be happier. Networking has a purpose, but you definitely have to understand that having that support system is human. A lot of people, a lot of these rappers like to talk about how much they don't trust anybody, how much they don't want new friends, and how they just kick it with the guys from day one. That's lame. That's beta. I don't even use the word beta, but that is not practical. That's not practical. And if you're gonna listen to these people, they already have M's, bro. A lot of these things that you get from these rappers, you don't need. They already have millions of dollars. When you have $10 million, yes, you can't just trust everybody. You can't just be friends with everybody. But you probably don't have that if you're watching this. So yes, make a lot of acquaintances. Have 3 to 4 good friends that you could call on. Have a support system. Yes, have a girlfriend. I don't want to say wife, but if you're under the age of 23, I wouldn't recommend necessarily having a girlfriend in these days. But if you're over the age of 23, yes, have a girlfriend, bro. Your daddy just gave you permission. You could go outside, have a girlfriend, man. Have friends, socialize, network. Do you do that, Aaron Moses? You're not Aaron Moses, baby. You can't do what I do. So at the end of the day, understand that you do have value to add to any situation. Just know yourself, understand the situation, know why you should add value to the situation. I'm gonna run through this list again one more time, man. So find the purpose of why something works, the mechanics, okay? Feel what you feel. If you don't like your job, you don't have to pretend to like your job. You don't have to put in music and socialize and joke around with people. You could be like, you know what, man? I don't like this job. I don't want to be here. I'm not growing. I don't want to be the manager here. This does not feel right. If you could grow in your job and you don't like it, Get more money, get more responsibilities, make your resume look more beautiful. I'm not saying that, but if it's just totally a dead end job, if you work for a temp agency in a factory and there's no way you could grow, which there's always somewhere you can grow in those situations. Okay, especially if you have a car. Now, the next one is build those success loops. Do something small every day that's going to remind you of your greatness and why you should be successful, and feeling some kind of level of accomplishment every day. Not video games, not smashing a new chick, working out, reading, improving yourself in isolation with your group. If you're in a workout group, good. Meditation, yoga group, good. If you're in a book club, good. Do something. If you read for 15 minutes a day. Now it's gonna make you a little sleepy at first if you don't read that often, but go ahead and do that. Do anything healthy that's gonna make you a more successful, better person. Like I just named like five. Exercise, 15. Do all these things for 15 minutes. Exercise, motivate, read a physical paper book. Okay, if you can't do that, listen to 30 minutes of any audio book that can give you more education on anything that you're interested in. Um, putting off a bad habit. If you're gonna smoke that cigarette, if you're gonna smoke that blunt or drink that drink, put it off for 15 minutes. And then that last one, breathing exercises. Anybody could benefit from breathing exercises. I'm just throwing them out there. You pick your own. Those are just examples. Um, Visualize or feel yourself being successful. Do anything that you could do to build your willpower or discipline. And number six, socialize, go outside, socialize with new people. Okay? That's it.